So what's up, Long Players? Welcome to the Long Play Listening Party, a show where we go deep on local music, writing, recording, inspiration, gear, and whatever else sounds good to us. I'm Howie Howard from Mr. Furious Records. Royce the Wizard Diamond, what's going on tonight?
Just here to have a good time.
As always, Nate Holt, what's up?
I'm Royce, what's up?
Guest host and returning friend Megan Luttrell, how's it going?
Good, thanks for having me.
Absolutely, and we are pleased to welcome the Creepy Jingles, Andrew, Jocelyn, and Robertson. What's going on?
Hey, everybody. How are you guys? Thanks for having us.
Thank you for being here.
We are going to be listening to the Jingles' new record, Take Me At My Wordplay, out today on High Dive Records. Very excited to listen to this. Where should we start? Where does the story of Take Me At My Wordplay begin?
Probably about 2011 I was going through a lot of different changes in my life, and I had split up with my ex-partner, and we got divorced, and I moved into a new apartment, and I was just kind of in this new mental space on how do I navigate life. And I wrote the song Trojan Horse Girl during that time. It was like maybe a week into the apartment, and then I came up with the Creepy Jingles probably like a couple days later. So that didn't even materialize though until probably about 2017, where I was living with Andrew. We were roommates. Andrew's been a good friend for a long time, and Nick was friends with Andrew, and they were playing golf. He brought him over one day, and I was at the house during lunch, and we just hit it off. We started talking music, and he's like, yeah, I'm a drummer. And I was like, I'm a songwriter. And then we started playing, and we jammed, and it was really fun. And Nick's really creative. He thinks like a songwriter on the drums, and he has really good taste in music. So it was a match made in heaven there. And eventually Andrew came back on board. He's been with us for about a year and a half, but he joined the band later. And Travis McKenzie is on guitar, but it really started in that basement of the house that Andrew and I were living in when we actually came together. But the idea started in 2011, and from 2017 we started playing together, and 2018 we started playing shows. And then I think in December of 2018, we were signed to High Dive Records, and then we put out an EP, which was self-titled Creepy Jingles, in May of 2019. And then we were ready to make another record, and we had planned on doing it, and we started the process, decided it didn't sound right, so we shelved it. And then we got together, and we ended up re-recording it. We ended up taking the whole studio. Our dear friend and talented engineer, and he mixed and mastered our record, Zach Hames. He was gracious enough to bring his whole studio down. We rented an Airbnb lake house cabin in the Ozarks in November.
Nice. Wow.
So we were kind of quarantined together, and we made a record. And we just moved in like it was our place, and we brought all the studio equipment, and we knocked it out. And then we did some overdubs back at home, but really, yeah, it started all the way back in 2011 during that time when I wrote Trojan Horse Girl, and then came up with the name The Creepy Jingles. But nothing really materialized in 2017, and all this has been leading to now. And it's been a long time. We've been very patient, waiting to get this record out. We're actually delayed about 8 to 10 months, I think, for our vinyls to come in, and we held off to release that. So we had the COVID thing that we wanted to wait on to see how it went. Yeah. We restarted the record, and then we had to wait like 8 to 10 months for the vinyl. So it's been a long time coming. it gave us more time to really do some extra things that we would have rushed to do or we wouldn't have done well enough. So we were able to make 4 pretty cool videos, I think, to accompany the single. And I'm glad it's here. It's release day, so I'm excited. We're playing tonight at the Rhino. But yeah, that's the story of Take Me At My Wordplay and how we came together.
Awesome. And I want to apologize, Nick. I think I introduced you by your last name. I was having some trouble hearing in the pre-show, so I apologize for that.
That's better than what we call him.
Megan, I want to bring you in. Where does your connection with the jingle start?
Well, I run a women's songwriter showcase at Cobb Valley Public House in Lawrence, and I was looking for new participants, and I don't actually remember how I got connected with Jocelyn, but somehow, did you reach out to me? Did I reach out to you? I don't remember.
Reached out to me on Facebook, and we were going to do it. And then I couldn't do it for some reason. I did cancel. So we rescheduled it a couple months later. And then it was some summer night, some magical summer night that we met. And the rest is history, right, Megan?
Exactly. And that was one of the ones during COVID when normally we play in the round, 4 of us on stage at once, but we didn't end up, we were doing individual sets to make sure that we had social distancing. So it wasn't, I don't think you haven't experienced the round yet, but Jocelyn will be back for another one in May, on May 5th. So she'll be able to experience the in the round. But yeah, we met at that, and I think you've done 2 of them now, right? And then May 5th will be your 3rd. And just became immediate fast friend banter buddies. Been wonderful.
Nice.
Dang, she's pretty cool.
I do all right.
Shall we get into the record, Nate? I mean, do you want to play us something?
Yeah, for sure.
Got to give the people what they want here.
Yeah. I was just wondering kind of maybe how it started, like the genesis of that song. Was it like a riff, or were the lyrics, or because it has some cool syncopation, like towards the beginning, some timing stuff, which is really cool. So yeah.
Oh, I wrote it like I just found out like David Bowie had died.
Okay.
And like it just, that was like the first celebrity death. Like normally celebrity deaths don't bother me, but when David Bowie died, that was hard. And that was like it surprised me. I mean, I'm a Bowie fan, but like something about it like really like gutted me. And my cat was in the middle of like kidney failure, and he was dying. And so I have this cat, and it's his eye. He just was skinny. He didn't look like himself. And I'm watching him dying in front of my eyes. Just found out that David Bowie died. Thinking about like a breakup, and like pondering like transition for me. And I wrote this song, and it just sort of like I wanted something Bowie-esque, so it sort of has, in my opinion, it has like sort of a sexy sort of like swagger to it. It's sort of swaggery rock and roll, and just like the hammer on down, and it was just very sort of finding space within like hammering down on those downbeats. And and the chorus was me doing what I thought David Bowie might think was cool, and it's sort of like 50s, 60s rock and roll, and I sing it in kind of a faux British accent. Not to try to sound like David Bowie, but just to sort of like, I'd always made a joke. Yeah, like I made a joke with a friend once. I would think it'd be funny to do like a secret project where you act like you're English, because I think English people are super cool, because a lot of my heroes are English. And talk like this, and honestly, this uncertainty hold me up in knots. So like doing that kind of stuff, and it was just sort of silly, and like I scream "my bad" in it, because I don't know, there's just such a stupid phrase to me. I think it's funny. And the bridge part is sort of like this Beach Boys-esque sort of thing, where I'm pondering like all these things that we as human beings are so tied to and invested in, and we start to realize that we can sort of redefine ourselves, that we're not a product of our mistakes, and our experiences can shape our future, not necessarily like stifle them. So it was really about the metamorphosis of me coming out as a trans woman, and it was spurred by trying to make a song David Bowie would hopefully like.
Nice.
That's rad. And another kind of Bowie thing is the mixing of the vocal registers. I can totally hear, like, it didn't occur to me hearing the song for the first time, but now that you mention it, it's like, oh yeah, that's totally a Bowie thing.
Yeah, singing, like sometimes I'll flip into a chorus into like a head voice or a falsetto or whatever, and then try to. I want to see that melody, like on paper. I want to see where I start and how low I go, and it's always a challenge to write interesting melodies that I think challenge good singers to be able to stretch their range and give something interesting. And hopefully it's interesting enough somebody wants to cover it someday. But I just want to do things that are interesting as far as melodically, and sort of comes out that way.
Yeah.
Sweet. Nate, you want to give us Trojan Horse?
Yeah,
Horse
for
Girl?
sure. I'm going to start this song, but since it's going to be loud, I just have one more comment on that last one. When you're talking about the English accents, like I love that Beatles documentary, but I really enjoyed listening to them talk. like through the whole thing. It's just like very enjoyable for me to hear them talking that way. And then, one of your lyrics, like the last line, come together and change the weather, that come together as a Beatles lyric. So I'm just kind of being like, whoa, yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely little Easter eggs and nods to things that I love, like in the record.
Yeah.
I mentioned the Beatles, or I'm writing a song for David Bowie without necessarily talking about David Bowie, or I mentioned like pro wrestling insider terms because I'm a pro wrestling nerd, but I love it. Yeah. And so I throw that stuff in, I throw comic books in, and then I throw like literary work stuff that I'm interested in, and then just throw it in a big pot and then sort of see what happens. So
cool. Well, with that in mind, we're gonna hear Trojan Horse Girl. So if we can ask you questions over it, we will try. If not, we will see you on the other side.
Sure, Megan.
Yeah, my question was about the music video for this. It's very interesting, and I wanted to know kind of the story behind that.
For sure. Yeah, the video was kind of just us. I hired Johnny Ulisane, is a very, very talented director. And he asked me, like, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to do the weirdest thing you've ever done before. I want to make a little movie. And he's like, well, do you want to be in it? And at first I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. But it sounded more fun to sort of like sit back and like create a world. For the first single, like not make it about us, have a little story happening. And it's really kind of like about idolatry and like, how if something that can also be so innocent can become like something that like controls you, and as soon as you're giving it power, and it has control over you. So I think it's just sort of about that. And referencing to Johnny, and we were talking about like things like I was talking about homunculuses, like talking about alchemy and how like these scientists would supposedly they can build like this little single cell creature that ends up growing into something, and like a deformed creature. And I always thought that was interesting. I was like, so it started talking about that, and then we talked like, wouldn't it be great if it was just like this little weird character? So if you guys remember, I'm 40, so I remember as a kid, there's a show on Fox called Get a Life with Chris Elliott. I don't know if any of you guys know that.
Yeah, for sure.
Niche reference. It's a hilarious show.
No.
But in the show, there's an episode with
Spewy
the alien inspired making that type of making a creature film.
Oh, okay.
And then, you got the family as the backdrop, which is obviously the grounding and the normalcy. And then, it's American Beauty on acid, basically.
Nice.
It's done really, really well. It looks really, really good. And it's interesting every moment that the video is on. So I had a good time watching it.
And, that's a credit to working with a brilliant director. And I was able to set back and watch what he was doing and getting to help him with, like, I got to flick the gravy for the shots and, like people helping with lighting and like how we decorated and helping. It was really fun. And it was a really fun experience. And now I've sort of got the bug to want to make more movies and work with Johnny again on other projects. So.
So did you have that pillowcase printed, or was that something you guys already had?
Video, the Jellybugs characters were, I mean, just sort of like Johnny came up with the name. He was like, let's call it something like, it's like, it needs to be a cutesy cartoon name. I was like, we were going to do a theme song. And at first I wanted to write it because I like doing that sort of stuff. And I was like thinking, and he wanted to do it too, because he's a songwriter. And I was like, you know what? I trust you. You're doing this. It would be fun for you to do something at the top of it. So he wrote the Jellybugs theme with his partner, I believe Jenny Sue is her name. Forgive me if I'm wrong. But they came up with the Jellybugs characters, and that ended up becoming this cartoon character. And I told Johnny, I was like, the only thing I want is the theme song has to rival Muppet Babies. The Muppet Babies theme song. Excellent.
No, that's something I remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite theme. I think my favorite TV theme is Golden Girls. Thank you for being a friend. That bridge is killer. But Muppet Babies is right up there, and I think Johnny nailed it. So I went in and I sang with him and her, and I plugged my nose and jelly bugs, that sort of thing, and. We sang it, and it ended up being in the front of the video, and it was really fun to have this sort of character that's merchandised out to hell, like a Mickey Mouse or any sort of popular, I guess, intellectual property that's just hammered into the ground, and they make their cups and their posters. And I love the idea of this little girl being obsessed with this one, because that was the kid I was. I had to have everything, and I liked that the pillow design was really cool, but they came up with it and they ordered it and it came in, and everybody keeps asking us for Jellybug plushies, but Johnny and I have to work out a licensing deal, I think so.
I was gonna say, get it done.
Yeah. People want
Well, hey, let's hear Nicotine Mom. How's that?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Man, I definitely hear like some Beach Boy influence. Like, it's fun. It's not like obvious, but like if you want to hear it, it's there. I just think it's super cool.
I want to go. I mean, everything sounds fantastic, but the drums sound fantastic. What can you tell us about the drum performance and engineering and all that stuff?
I'm actually using a pretty strange kit. It's there's a company called Jenkins Martin, and they revived the Blademeyer drum brand. Are you familiar with the Wrecking Crew? That they're these spun fiberglass shells. And they had something made out of rock, like it was a basalt thread instead of fiberglass. And so we had that kit made. And so they're really punchy toms. Like, they don't have a lot of spread, but they have a ton of punch. And it's actually a 12-inch, and then my floor tom is a 15. And again, the kick is short. It's actually a 12 by 22. So everything about that kit is pure punch. And I'm also playing a Jenkins Martin fiberglass snare. But yeah, I don't know what Zach. Zach is. He's an amazing engineer, and he knows how to get that sort of '90s punch sound, and that's kind of what we wanted for it. So.
No, it sounds fantastic, but it does sound a little unique, and so like hearing about the kit, that makes sense.
Yeah, but this is all recorded like in one go. Like you sat down, like you said, rented that Airbnb and recorded.
We were all
record,
playing.
Right?
The takes that you're hearing are us playing live in a room together.
Yeah.
So we probably took that song four or five times, and
the best one.
Yeah,
and then the second or third one was probably the best one, but it just works out that way sometimes.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, Nick really sets the tone for the song, and it's this lovely rolling drum part that's just really fun to listen.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, for sure.
I started the song, and it was a very sort of, I wrote it on like a Spanish guitar, and I was just like, oh, waste your day with, and it was very sort of soft, and Nick was doing this drum thing, and then it was like, okay, we went from like doing more of a bongos thing to him doing that on the drums, and it just...
Yeah, in the choruses,
sort of Motown-y too.
On the choruses, when I skip the snare and hit the toms, the whole that whole idea is like a part that you would want to drum along to, Like
yes,
it
exactly.
was a really really catchy chorus drum part. Yeah, and it changes.
No.
The choruses are different. On one time I'm crash riding. The first time I'm going toms and snare into a flam. But anyway, yeah.
No, that's I think that's what makes it really cool to listen to. As someone who doesn't play drums, but
yeah, the plushies may be in development. You can buy your official Creepy Jingles air drums at highdiverecords.bandcamp.com. The air drums come free with every purchase of the albums.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's like an extra
Creepy Jingles air drums.
It's not even a pre-order thing. So you should pre-order it, but if you don't, then buy it on Friday. You
Absolutely.
Still get the eardrums, right?
DLC.
So I want to hear
$60.
So how about Working Class Clown? Let's listen to that.
I'm saying I lost weight and I ate all the food on your plate. I wrote rhymes, made sound while I counted the jewels in your crown. And I think about things you said to me, changed our energy and our chemistry. And I'm wondering if you feel the same. Come on, change the game, or we became. Oh, there's nothing wrong. The seasons serve the strong. So when sick of running from the undertaker, but in time before I meet my maker, top of the pop, sweethearts, young upstarts, street smarts, fine arts. Don't tell me, don't tell me, don't tell me, don't tell me yet, no. Wanna know you think you've grown, wanna know.
Yeah, that was super fun. Yeah. So Megan, did you have a question? Another question?
No, I did not. I was thinking how so far it's interesting. I don't hear a lot of harmonies on the record so far. Is that I'm when I record, I love adding harmonies, and obviously I've only heard the first 3 because it's not out yet. But is that like a specific choice, or just your style?
Harmonies. There are harmonies in that, and Nicotine Mom, and you got some more auxiliary sort of harmony things in the ahs and the oohs that you're not really hearing probably. But as far as the record itself, Andrew's not singing harmonies with me throughout the songs, and it was just capturing how the band was. Since he's not singing harmonies with me, typically there's not harmonies in those places, and we did it really sparingly, because I feel like too, it's like it's more special if you hold that back and you do it occasionally. I think it lifts those sections, and
it doesn't sound like anything's missing. That's not not what I meant, but it a lot of times you hear, I don't know, I feel like when people record, it's almost too much, when they do it, when they're like, oh, I can record myself a bunch of times, but I like that you kept it the way it sounds when you guys play live.
Thanks. You're not going to like our next record. It's basically doing heat. So.
No, I was going to ask about the recording of the vocals. Were you treating the vocals the same way on every song, or were you doing something different each time? Because I just think they sound interesting to me. Obviously it's your voice, but it feels like there's something added, or there's some sort of sort of effect there.
As far as like the performances or how I sing it, Trojan is saying in a very lower register and a very sort of growly tone, and I get really loud and screamy, and there's places on the record, that are in my falsetto range, and I'm singing my highest note. So that's just me approaching every single song as what is the protagonist, who's singing here, and I think depending on the song, I approach it a different way on how to sing it. Like, I was sort of, I guess, influenced in the way I read that Paul McCartney sort of sang differently on like the White Album. Like Paul was like, he'd do something like Martha, My Dear, and then he'd do something like Helter Skelter or Mother Nature's Son. And he always had an interesting take to the vocal because he approached it more of like an actor. So when I get in the booth, I just sort of like try to I want to sing every song different. All of our videos, I want it to be different and stand apart from them, from each other. And it's just about building like each little planet, and then the record is the solar system. So it's just making sure that has its own color and its own identity, but also works well with the next thing and plays off of it interestingly. So it's just trying to show as many sides and angles and perspectives of my personality and the music that I enjoy and I like to write.
Yeah.
And that's coming through in the arrangements too. Like, there's always something different coming in, leaving. Sections are just like flying by, and we haven't had the chance to listen to this record a bunch of times yet because it's only out today, listeners, as you're hearing it. But I'm excited to really absorb this over time and learn all those changes, because there's so much going on. We can't hardly even scratch the surface, on a first listen.
Right. So, and all the titles are fantastic. This next one's called Fall of the Cabal Game. So I let's listen to that.
Fashion
Nice, getting heavy.
Yeah.
I've got a question for Andrew. Since you were present, from kind of the very beginning, what's it like to put a band together that covers such a wide swath of sonic territory, and what does it feel like to be able to go to all those different places musically?
Well, I knew what I was getting myself into. I've known Joss for a while. I've known how she writes songs. I knew that getting involved in this band, I was biting off a big chunk. Joss's songwriting has always been all over the place, across the board, in a good way. And so I was jumping in, so there was it 3 bass players in the band before I joined in. So bass players are kind of cycling through the band. And I got into a place in my life where I had the time to invest in music again, which was something that really changed the course of how I was feeling and what I was doing at the time. But I had a lot to catch up on. They already had the 6-song EP finished and pretty much the whole album written, but I had to put a bass line across the album. So it's something I like to do. I like projects. I like to just throw myself, into something and just really get stuck in. And I did. I just invested a lot of time and a lot of listening and studied kind of the way the bass players that have been a part of the band had written to the songs and took what I liked from those players and then put my own style to it and just came up with something really nice.
Yeah, for sure. Before we listen, go ahead.
His bass lines on the record are very interesting, and it's nice to have like our bass player. Like we knew with like Andrew, like his just work ethic is second to none. If he wants something, he like goes out and gets it and gets really good. And he didn't really play bass before. I mean, he kind of like messed around, but like he became an amazing bass player through like the process of making this record, and he wrote amazing lines and he added a lot, and it really holds us on stage together. So like he brings a lot to the group. So we're thankful to have him.
For sure. And it's nice that the mix and the master give the bass plenty of space too, so you can really enjoy it.
Thanks, Jossie.
Yeah, you're welcome, buddy.
Before we listen to Breaking the Fourth Walmart, which is another great name. They're all great names. I wanted to ask, so you guys recently opened for Frog Pond, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. So I was reading something, and I don't know what the set list for the show was, but like listening to the first, 3 songs or 4 songs, and then you broke out the piano. The review was something like the first 3 songs were great, but then the piano came out that they, sounded, a lot better, and that's just, constructive criticism, haha, wink, wink. But like to me, I don't know what you would have played first, but like all the first 3 songs were like kick ass. Like the choruses hit where they should have hit, and they were right on. So I'm just like, I guess my question isn't so much like the reviewer, which I thought I wasn't there. I wish I could have been there, but I wasn't. Maybe he was right, but I don't think he was, or they were. When do you obviously you add piano and keyboards to your songs. Like when do you decide to do that, or do you write certain songs for piano, or do you just kind of add that?
And either play on piano or I'll start on guitar. Sometimes it's me just like singing into my phone, doing just singing a melody into my phone, and then I'll turn around and knock out the lyrics. Or a lot of times it's just me accompanying myself and messing around on piano or messing around on guitar until like something squeaks out of me. You know, and I've processed enough, taken in enough, you know, stimulus and processed it and really percolated on all those experiences. At some point they end up coming out. So it just depends on where, what I'm at when I'm sitting down. Like, I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but like, even like if Megan were to loan me her guitar and I played on Megan's guitar for a while, like there's songs I think that you can find on different instruments. And it just depends on my whimsy. Whatever I'm feeling is usually how I write songs. And I never try to like plan too many things out. It sort of happens organically, and then I can kind of shape it as I go.
Right on. Well, of course, you know, obviously we have not heard the entire record. We're listening to it right now because it just came out. But from what we've heard so far, I don't know that there's any reason why the piano would lend itself to, the songs, you know, they're a better band when they have the keyboards or not. And that's probably not what
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that statement either.
I don't think that's what the point that they were trying to make, but I just don't. I mean, from what we've heard of the record so far, like I don't know why one part of the show would be weaker than another part when I think so far they've all been like really strong.
Yeah. Let's chalk that up to a quirk of the. I don't know what review you're talking about, but let's chalk it up to some quirk of the reviewer. And
I'm not. I no hate. I just felt like I needed to shoot that down. So let's listen to Breaking the Fourth Wall.
You didn't tell us you were going like all like meta rock critic, Nate. You didn't give us a heads up.
Oh, they're the critics' critic. I like.
Scripture, paper trails, sonnets of peace, and ancient tales pass around like cool trading cards. Pop culture shapes the shape, collects them all. Those who break their bread cry gospels on the souls that wake the dead. Reanimate buried tombs will quake. Unnothing souls of men that broke the tin. Dictum devil means possessing the teens and hipster scenes of cultistic boots and skinny jeans. Lift the veil, race of supermen and giants. Usher in what's now and then. Dictum devil means.
don't know what part of the solar system that is, but I love it. I can't wait to get back there.
Travis uses a pedal called a rainbow machine, and I don't know what it does.
Okay.
It's super psyched.
That sounds like it should do something like that. That lives up to its name for sure.
We knew we wanted an intro, and then Travis had this rainbow machine pedal, and we're just like, no, keep twisting it, make it weirder, keep doing this. And we're just egging him on, like, no, that's not even crazy enough. Do something crazy. Like, just really trying to get Skip to, like, get pissed off, and, like, and he came up with that. So it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that song, I've had an opportunity that I don't get very often, which is to kind of follow the lyrics, because I tend to respond more to like the sonics of the song, and then I will hear the lyrics, and like sometimes they'll shock me that the song is the way it is and the lyrics are these. But I'm not saying about this song, but I kind of want to ask what the song is about, because the lyrics are very interesting, and I kind of want to see if that would be something you would want to get into.
Yeah, the song was written. My friend called me one morning, and he's like, I know that you're the first one I thought of who I should call. I had the craziest dream, and I think you should hear this, because he knows I like weird shit. And I was like, yeah, please. So, like, you know, I woke up to like a little like Christmas present, because I love that sort of stuff. And he was so possessed by the experience of the dream that I was like building this world that he was seeing in my head based on the way he was talking about it. And it sort of became this. I was reading Grant Morrison's The Invisibles at the time, which is one of my favorite works of art in general, but it's a graphic novel that was written over 7 years, and it's brilliant. But there's all these crazy like occult themes, and there's like stuff about religion and gender and sexuality and money and good and evil and two sides of the same coin, and about the duality of like, you know, third dimensional consciousness, and then sort of like evolving past that into manifestation of thought. But I got into this weird sort of patchwork of taking this dream that my friend had relayed to me, and the stuff that I was reading from Grant Morrison and Revelations and the Bible was always a book that scared me as a kid, because I had to go to church before I stopped going to church. But like that was the one that fascinated me, because it was like tonally so different from the rest of the Bible, in my opinion. It's like just like at the end, it's like no.
Yeah. It's like
all of a sudden there's like these monsters and beasts coming from the sea, and you're like, what? And then there's trumpets, and so that sort of stuff like works. That sort of imagery works its way into that. And then I started finding through auto writing that this was about memes, and how memes now are kind of what the Bible was then. And it's like these things that we pass to each other, and it's like, or this folklore or mythology. It's like a culture taking a story and then passing it along. I was like, well, that's the same as memes. And it's there's a line about now and then, and it does sort of have that sort of they're just Pokemon. You know, scriptures or Pokemon, you know, catch them all.
Collect them all. Yeah.
Collect them all. And that's, I love memes. And it was just sort of this weird sort of patchwork of that world mixed with my friend's dream and Grant Morrison's The Invisibles.
Cool. Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah. No, I understand. I went to Catholic school for 12 years, and I'm not a Christian anymore, but yeah. So anyway,
Jesus,
we'll keep that. And listen to
We'll mute
I have a
that.
question about titles. Do the titles come first? Do you just have like this arsenal of clever song titles that sometimes you write the song around, or is it the opposite way where the song comes first and then the title comes, or is it a mix of both? Because I just love them. So I'm just wondering how that works for you.
Thank you. The titles are usually after I have like a running log of probably about 130 titles I haven't used. Just because this is Megan, this is just how I talk in real life.
Yes, it is.
And it's just I'll say things and I'm like, oh, that's kind of funny, and then I'll write it down, and then it goes in the list, and then I kind of find the titles that I think make sense. Emotionally, they don't necessarily on a lyrical level, they aren't necessarily the same or the same idea, but tonally maybe the music and the title I think work really nicely together. And I think titles are arbitrary, and I know it's kind of hard for you to like, oh well, it's like, I don't know, Andrew, the band all the time is like, what's that song called? Because you name all your songs to some fucking joke, and I don't know what it is. So and then they just like read like a line from the chorus. I'm like, yeah, that one. So a lot of times up until the point that we're recording, the guys won't know what song I'm talking about when I call it out. So it's been fun and interesting, but it's just, to me, it's an arbitrary thing. And the titles are just another way to sort of put more of myself into the music, and that's just who I am, and I have fun with it. And that's why the Take Me At My Wordplay was kind of a self-referential meta joke about me continuing to beat a dead horse with these titles. And Nick keeps going, are you going to keep doing this? Like, maybe we should cut it off. I'm like,
no, it's great. I hate naming songs, and I feel like I just pick words from the song. And I'm like, well, that was boring, but it's so much better this way, I think.
Totally.
And then it makes people wonder too, like, why is this song called this? It makes people think, and then it forces them to really listen to the lyrics too, because they're like, where is it? Where is it? Where's the church? And it's not in there.
I think it really, I mean, as far as having this like physical like album with like a cool like art, and then the titles are super cool. I think the titles are super cool. Like that just, I think that just makes it like that much better in my mind. Anyway, I agree with you, Megan. That's what I'm saying.
So nothing like confusing your drummer with the song titles. It's always a good move.
And that's a bonus.
I don't think I've ever called Gaslight My Fire by that name.
It's always.
What about Enoki and Him and Her, which is an awesome title. That's up next. Should we listen to it first?
That'll be up next week. So,
that's right.
Yeah, so listeners,
that's right.
We're gonna keep hanging out with Creepy Jingles and Megan Luttrell. We're gonna give you a break, so you can go to highdiverecords.bandcamp.com. You can pick up your digital right now. You can pre-order your vinyl, however you like to do it.
No, not pre-order. It's an order.
What's
they
that?
Send it out. They send it out right away. You order the vinyl, you get it. Like
you get it.
Wait, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
it still says. I think it still says. Okay, that's my mistake. It says pre-order on Bandcamp now. It's Tuesday for me right now. When you hear this, it's Friday. It'll be out. They'll
now
send
I'm
it
confused.
To you. It'll all
I'd say for me too.
It'll all be wonderful.
It's Friday for me every day.
Yeah, right.
But we'll keep hanging out with Joss and Nick and Andrew and Megan, and we will catch you next week. This has been the Long Play Listening Party. Later, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.